Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm going to be testing the Watch Dogs franchise on the Steam Deck, so Watch Dogs 1, 2, and I forgot the name of the last one, Watch Dogs Legion, now I remember it. So let's start with the first one, 800p, everything like this. There's no TAA, I think. Oh yeah, there is, Temporal SMAA. Let's use that. And then on the actual settings, the graphics quality, I put basically a mix between medium and high. Level of detail on medium helps on the CPU side because the game seems to be using only like one core, shaders as well. So what's the issue with this game apart from the fake advertisements? Well, first of all, it doesn't allow us to use the GPU at its maximum potential because it drops due to the CPU. At least it was like that all the time. Even if I lowered the settings to the lowest, it dropped below 60 all the time. And what a weird texture, what the hell? So anyway, Watch Dogs 1, I actually enjoyed this one. It's a game that I liked back in its day. Of course, let's not talk about that E3 presentation. But for the time that I played it, I enjoyed it quite a bit. It looks so much better when it's raining, it's ridiculous. But my advice for this one is to lock it to 40, because it's not reaching 60s at all. We're making some chaos.
911, what is your emergency?
But again, I wish they remade this one, but being more interesting. I don't know, I think they had a good idea, but the execution wasn't good. And well, they wanted even to compete with GTA 5 back then, which is pretty funny. Especially when driving, you're going to drop frames. So let's get into a chase. Run. Doinks. Doinks. I like the second one much more, but this one is still fun, if you know what you're getting into. Where's the helicopter? Oh. And well, the hacking mechanic is still fun. So I think it's time to swap to handheld, so you can see how it looks on the smaller screen, and at the same time we can lock it to 40, so one sec. Alright guys, welcome back, now in handheld, same settings as before, so same drops in performance. So what are we doing? Pretty simple. 40 hertz.
A stern
Okay.
warning from the Chicago police chief to the vigilante. You are not above the law. Fueled by recent vigilante actions and complaints from angry citizens.
So let's attack again.
Not to rest until the
It's funny, there's news talking to vigilantes,
how much of the police
and as a vigilante I start wreaking havoc.
pain does that put on regular police? 911, please state your emergency. Can you hear it? Can you hear
It's a fugitive! So nice to destroy cars, sometimes. But man, I wish the city wasn't made of paper. But at 40 FPS I think it's good enough. Looks decent, these Watch Dogs. Just remember that when it's rainy... When it's rainy is when the game looks the best. Without rain it looks very bland. And I hacked the helicopter somehow. But as you can see, with the 40 FPS cap, it's so much better. And I'm not saying put the game on the lowest and lock 60s, that doesn't happen, and on low the game looks worse. So there is, in my opinion, no point in doing that. See ya, suckers! And again, the city is made of paper. Accepting that. Whee! Anyway, so while this game is fun, I still recommend the second one over it. Still, I enjoyed this more than Watch Dogs Legion, personally. So yeah, it works great on Steam Deck if you are fine with 40 FPS. Otherwise, it's pretty disappointing performance, I would say, for a game of this age. Watch Dogs 2, this one is marked as unsupported due to easy anti-cheat, but we can do something about it. So in Manage, go to Properties. In general, make sure you have this command, EAC_launcher, to avoid easy anti-cheat, so we turn it off. In compatibility, I'm using GE Proton 825. Oh man, this game has been such a pain. It's been a nightmare trying to launch this game. You have to go through Ubisoft Connect, which is fine, it's easy, just log in, link the game, and all fun. But I had black screens all the time. I don't know what's wrong with this game. But it took forever for it to work properly. So it seems that that Proton version I showed you, that I selected, worked out of the box. Otherwise, I've been hours trying to make this game work with things I read on the internet. And apparently now it works. So finally, let's go into the options menu. As you can see, this overlay doesn't go away. No worries. The back buttons, we can map it to whatever we want. And in this case, we're going to convert it into a set of settings. I was doing Shift F2, but it doesn't seem to work. So we're going to make it something else. So it will be Shift and a subcommand, which will be F2. So when you press L4, it'll be Shift F2. And that will open up the overlay, as you can see there. And you can close the overlay there and press these two crosses here. It should be only for the first time, and after that you should be good. Use your fingers to close that. In the options menu, we're using 800p, a little bit extra FOV. Then on quality, I'm using a mix between medium and low with some stuff on high. Just remember that some of these options are called low, but it's basically medium because you have high or low. So that's pretty stupid in my opinion, but there we go. Then we enabled Bloom temporal filtering, which is like an upscaling solution before FSR existed. I think it looks pretty good. And then we're using SMAA. This is affected by temporal filtering, that's why we cannot disable this. And our target will be 40 FPS, just like on the previous game. So let's get into it. These are on the way. Perfect. Ooh, I flew off. But again, I think this is the best one, without a doubt. So if you want to play it, do it. But man, it was so hard to get set up for the first time. Just because of the Proton version. I don't know what's wrong with this Uplay launcher. But it seemed to be a Uplay issue, not a game issue. Anyway. So again, 40, pretty borderline, but we are CPU limited most of the time. Just like on Watch Dogs 1. But I consider it completely playable. At least in my opinion. Doinks. And there's some minor artifacts on some of the characters. Not sure what's up with that. But hey. Other than those minor visual artifacts, we're good. It was only on one character, so let's jump into handheld. Alright guys, we're now in handheld. I locked the refresh rate to 40 Hz. And in the FPS limit, I selected 40 because the VSync solution in this game is not particularly great. And we're back here. Again, the frame times are not perfect. But it's the limitation of the game. Which really sucks. I mean, 40 feels good, but this game very often stutters. It crashed on me a couple times after playing for an hour. So yeah, 40s is possible, but it's not consistent, especially when you're in the middle of the city being chased around. That's a big issue, I would say. So I'll play it like this just because it feels still more fluid than 30. But it's still not perfect. Which is a shame really, because this is the best one in the franchise, in my opinion. I'm not getting on the ground! So yeah, on the smaller screen, despite using the temporal filtering upscaling solution, the game looks pretty good. The only thing I wish we had is more stability when it comes to the frame times. So yeah, let's jump into the next one, Watch Dogs Legion. This one is the best in my opinion, but again, I wish the frame times were better. So let's jump into the next one. And finally, Watch Dogs Legion, the game in the franchise that I do not like. 800p FOV, let's increase it to 80. Increases the CPU and GPU load a little, but we can get away with it. Quality DX12, for some reason DX11 crashed to me. And it's basically a mix between medium and high. Headlight shadows off because it was a big hit to performance. And that's basically it. TAA. No ray tracing. DLSS, well, we don't have a DLSS capable card here. And temporal upscaling at 100. And then on image, nothing new. So let's get into it. We're now into the game, and unfortunately it stutters. From the time I've been playing it, even on PC, I've been having stutters. Seems to be an issue with the game itself. It's a shame. And well, what to say, it's 30 FPS. 40s, you cannot get there without further stuttering, so I recommend you just keep it unlocked or lock it to 30 in the options menu. Personally, I wouldn't lock it because the frame times are still pretty bad. So yeah, let's do some chaos now. Like I did on the other games. But again, this game was a mistake. In my opinion. I like that you can recruit basically any NPC and all that. That's interesting. But the game itself, I think, falls short. Which is a shame. This could have been amazing. But still, Watch Dogs 2 is king in the franchise, at least in my opinion. They should be chasing after me now. And well, Watch Dogs franchise on Steam Deck, I'd say play 2 and play 1, and this one you can skip it, in my opinion. It works, but I don't think it's worth your time. Unless it's on a deep sale, maybe then. But man, this game disappointed me so much. And the stutter. No matter what I did, it stutters. I mean, when you're being chased out by the police, chased down by the police, and you're driving, this happens. You lose frames. So yeah, a wasted potential in my opinion. Oh, there we go. So let me show you in handheld, so I can stop complaining for a little bit. One sec. Alright, so I fast traveled, and if you're in a busier area of the city, you're going to stutter more and more. So the game looks okay visually with these settings, but again, it's not a game that I particularly like. So I recommend you play the first and the second one, especially the second one, and skip this one. Also, I forgot to mention, it crashed my deck once when I was playing this after an hour of gameplay. Watch Dogs 2, after 2 hours of gameplay, it crashed. So yeah, it's kind of a shame that this engine is so poor utilizing resources. And nobody cares that I'm crashing against many cars. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did suffering in this last one and setting up Watch Dogs 2. That one was a pain due to easy anti-cheat, but I told you how to solve it. Well, not much else to say. Thank you for watching, and I'll see ya next time. Bye guys.